are going to discuss about the next concept in this lesson, that is measurement of time. So before going to start our discussion, we will recall what we have learned in the last class. In the last class, we have discussed about the motion and how does the rest and motion they are related to each other. With that, we have discussed about the types of motion. Later, we have discussed about the speed. Here, speed is nothing but total distance covered by an object in a unit time. We are calling it the speed. And also, we have discussed about the what is the formula to find out the speed. Speed is equal to distance by time. This is the formula to find out the speed. So now, today we are going to discuss about the next concept, that is measurement of time. How did you measure the time? Have you ever wondered how our elders were measuring the appropriate time? By seeing the shadow of the sun. Our ancestors noticed that many events in nature repeated themselves with a regular interval of time. For example, they found the sunrise in every day. The time interval between the sunrise to the next sunrise, they are considering as a day. One day is nothing but the time interval between the one sunrise to the next sunrise, they are calling as a day. Then what about a month? The time interval from one new moon day to the other new moon day, they are considering as a 1 month. Then how they are calculating the year? A year it is having a fixed time. Nothing but earth it will take one revolution around the sun. They are considering as the year. Often we need to measure the time intervals which are shorter than that of a day. Right? So nowadays we are using some of the most time measuring devices. For example, we are using the wall clocks, watches. So they will measure the accurate time of the day. Table clock, wall clock, some of the digital clocks with the watches. They are some of the most commonly used time measuring devices. Okay, and also here one of the best example for measuring of time is the simple pendulum. As we have discussed before, that is periodic motion. Best example is simple pendulum. Then how can we consider simple pendulum? It is an example for the periodic motion. The working of a clock, it is a rather complex phenomenon. But all of them, they are using the simple periodic motions. One of the most well-known example for the simple periodic motion is simple pendulum. Here, simple pendulum, it is one of the most common example for the periodic motion. Now, let us discuss how can we consider a simple pendulum. It is one of the example for the periodic motion. Pendulum clock is a weight hung from a fixed point. Look at here, this is a picture of pendulum. Here pendulum clock you might have observed. Look at this picture. This is a pendulum clock. Here pendulum clock is a weight hung from a fixed point in such a way that it can swing freely. Motion of the pendulum is periodic. As for you children, we might have noticed that in a pendulum clock, here the pendulum it will be moving periodically. Okay, na? It is a weight hung from a fixed point. It is fixed at one point and the other point it will be freely moving. The movement of pendulum is periodic. Now let us discuss how does the pendulum it will be works. Now let us set up a simple pendulum by using a thread, metallic ball or stone. Simple pendulum, it consists of a metallic ball or stone. It can be suspended from a fixed point. Here, this is a fixed point and it can be suspended by using the thread. Here, we have tied this metallic ball or stone by using the thread. One end of this thread it is fixed and the other end it is containing the metallic ball or stone. Here, the metallic ball of the pendulum we are calling as the bob. Metallic ball of a pendulum or stone we are considering as the bob of the pendulum. Yes, now let us set up a simple pendulum by using the stone and the thread. Here, this is a simple pendulum and set up by using the thread and the stone. Okay, now how does the simple pendulum it will be works? The pendulum is in its rest position, nothing but this position we are calling as the mean position. Okay, when the bob of the pendulum, after taking it slightly to one side, when I release this pendulum, it will be starts to move. It will be starts to move to and fro motion. So this to and fro motion we are calling as the oscillatory motion. Okay, now look at here. Here, when I release this pendulum from a side, it will be moved from here to here. Again, from here to it will come back to the original position. So this is we are considering as the one oscillation. Clear? When the pendulum it will be moved from a fixed point. This is the fixed point now. Okay? From here to here it will move. Again, from this position to again it will be come back to the original position. This is we are calling as the one oscillation. Clear? Look at here. When the pendulum, when I leave from a side. Okay na? This is a particular fixed place. From here to if I leave means the pendulum will be moved from here to here. Again it will be return back to the original place. So this is we are considering as the one oscillation. The to and fro motion of an object we are considering as the oscillatory motion or simple periodic motion. See, look at here. When I leave this bob from a fixed point, it will be starts to move and it will be returned back to its original place. So this type of motion we are considering as the oscillatory motion. Look at this video.
Do you remember seeing at the bottom of the clock a long stick with a ball attached? That is a pendulum. It moves back and forth in harmony with the tick-tocks of the second hand. A simple pendulum consists of a small metallic ball suspended by a thread. The metallic ball is called the bob of the pendulum. The thread by which a bob is suspended is loose at the lower end and is fastened at the top to a stand. When the pendulum is not moving, it is said to be at rest. This position of rest is also known as the mean position or the equilibrium position of the pendulum. Suppose the bob of a simple pendulum is in equilibrium. If we now take it to one side, left or right, and release it, it begins to move to and fro. This to and fro motion of a simple pendulum is called the oscillatory motion. One full to and fro motion of the pendulum is called an oscillation. The pendulum completes one oscillation when its bob, starting from its equilibrium position O, moves to one extreme position A, from there to the other extreme position B, and then back to O. Alternatively, an oscillation can also be measured as the movement of the bob of a pendulum from one extreme position A to the other extreme position B and back to A. The time taken by the pendulum to complete one oscillation is called its time period. You can compute it with the help of this simple exercise. Take a simple pendulum. Let it come to rest. Identify the equilibrium position O on the ground below. Now take the bob to one extreme position A and identify it on the ground below. Start a stopwatch and release the bob at the same time. When the bob comes back to the extreme position A, note the time on the stopwatch. Repeat the activity. This time, start from the equilibrium position O. Note the time taken by the pendulum to complete the one complete oscillation from O to A to B, B to O. The time so recorded is the time period of simple pendulum.
Yes, now let us discuss the few terms which are related to the simple periodic motion, that is working of the pendulum. In that, first one is oscillation. So as I said, oscillation is nothing but the to and fro motion of an object. Okay? As we have observed in this video, the bob of the pendulum, when I leave from a side, it will start to and fro motion. Okay, na? It will be repeating its motion, right? From fixed point, from here to here it will move this, again from here to it will be returned back. So this motion it will be continuous. This to and fro motion of an object we are considering as the simple periodic motion, and also we are calling as the oscillatory motion. Next one, that is time period. What do you mean by the time period? Here, swinging pendulum, it will take fixed time to complete one oscillation. When when I leave this bob from a fixed position, from here to if I leave this, it will take some fixed time to move one oscillation. That is from here to here and from here to here. It will cover one oscillation. Nothing but to move from here to here, it will take fixed time to complete the one oscillation. The time taken to complete one oscillation we are calling as the time period. Okay, na? It can be represented by T. The time taken by the simple pendulum to complete one oscillation we are calling as the that is time period. Next one, that is frequency. What do you mean by the frequency? The number of oscillation per second we are calling as the frequency. Per 1 second, how many oscillations does the pendulum it will be takes or covers? We are calling as the frequency. The formula to find out the frequency is 1 by T. Okay, now here frequency is equal to how many oscillations the pendulum has been covered divided by how much time it has been taken. Now let us check. For example, if I leave this pendulum for one oscillation, it will take 1 second. Okay, now so here for one oscillation is 1 divided by time is 1 second. Nothing but the frequency is that is 1 hertz. Frequency we are measuring in the hertz. The SI unit of frequency is hertz. Okay, here number of oscillation, one oscillation is completed. One oscillation is completed. The time taken is 1 second. That is 1 by 1 is equal to 1. And the frequency we are measuring in the hertz. You can learn in the higher classes regarding the frequency. Clear? So this is the working of the pendulum. Nowadays stopwatches and some of the electronic stopwatches they are using to measure the time interval. You might have observed that during experiments and sports they are using the stop clocks or watches which gives the accurate measurement of the time. Nowadays most clocks or watches have an electronic circuit with one cell or more cell. You might have observed that in a calculator, in watches, it is having an electronic circuit with single cell or it might be having a more cell. These clocks are called quartz clocks. Here these quartz clocks they are giving the accurate timing. The time measured by the quartz clocks it is more accurate than that of the time measured by the other devices. Yes, now let us discuss about the unit of speed and time. Here the time can be measured by a basic unit that is second. Time we are measuring in second, and with that we are measuring the large units of time. That is we are also using the minutes and hours. These are the sum of the units of time. But the basic unit of time is that is second. It can be represented by a letter S. Here sundials, water clocks and sand clocks. These are the few examples for such devices which is used in different parts of the world before the pendulum clock become popular. So let us discuss about what is the unit of speed. So as we have discussed before, speed is nothing but distance by time. Right? Speed is equal to total distance covered by an object in a unit time. Then how we are measuring the distance? Distance it can be measured by meter, centimeter or kilometer. Okay? And also as I said before, time it can be measured by second, minute or hour. The standard unit of speed is that is distance can be measured in the meter and speed can be measured in a second. That is the unit of speed is equal to meter per second. Okay? Here meter it is the unit of distance and second it is the unit of time. Okay, now speed we can measure in a meter per second, or the SI unit of speed is that is kilometer per hour. Okay, kilometer per hour is nothing but here the distance we have measured in kilometer and timing we have measured in hour. Speed we can also measure in a kilometer per hour. My dear children, these are the few formulas which are related to the speed. Okay, na? Suppose if they have asked for the speed, they have given distance and time. We can easily find it by using the formula speed is equal to distance by time. Suppose if they ask to find out the if they have given speed and the time, you have to find out the distance. Means by using this formula, we can find out the distance. Suppose if they are asked the timing, they have given speed and distance, both they have given. You have to find out the time. Then which formula we have to use? It is very simple. T is equal to T. You have to shift here, and S you have to bring downside. T is equal to D divided by S. Okay, now we can find out the timing. T is equal to D by S. D is nothing but distance. S is nothing but speed. To find out the time, they have given distance and speed. Means by using this formula, we can find out. Okay, now by using these formulas, that is speed is equal to distance by time, D is equal to S into T, T is equal to D by S. By using these formulas, now let us solve some of the numerical problems which are related to this lesson. Yes, my dear children, now let us solve a problem. A car traveling at an average speed of 55 km per hour. Nothing but here they have given the speed of the car, that is 55 km per hour, and takes 5 hours to reach the town B from town A. It will take timing, that is 5 hours to reach town from town A. Let us consider this is the town A and town B. Okay, now to reach the town B, the car it will take speed is equal to 55 km per hour. Okay, and it will take timing down timing T is equal to 5 hours. Then what is the distance covered by a car to travel from A to B? What is the distance you have to find out? Here we have to find out the distance. Okay, as we know the formula to find out the distance, D is equal to S into T. You have to substitute these values. S they have given, that is 55 into they have given timing, that is 5 hours. 55 paisa. Now let us multiply here. 55 into 5. 5 paisa 25 to carry. 5 paisa 25 plus 2 27. This is equal to 275. D is equal to 275. Here you should mention the unit. The unit of distance, as I said before, we can use in a meter or kilometer, or we can measure in centimeter also. We have got D is equal to 275 kilometer. Here, as I said before, distance we can measure in meter, centimeter or kilometer. Why I have written here kilometer means because speed it is measured in kilometer per hour. Time it is already in hour. Kilometer it is the unit of distance they have given in this problem. So that D is equal to 275 kilometer. This is one of the example to find out the distance. Now let us discuss the next example. Yes, my dear children, now let us look at the next problem. The distance between two cities is 1416 kilometer. How much time it will take to cover the distance at an average speed of 59 km per hour? Here they have given the distance is, that is 1416 kilometer. This is the distance, right? And also they have given the speed, average speed of 59 km per hour they have given. You have to find out the timing. What is the time taken to cover a distance of 1416 km with the speed of 59 km per hour? Here data is nothing but what are the terms they have given in this question. Now we will write down. Here they have given the distance is equal to 1416 km. Here distance they have measured in kilometer, right? And speed is equal to 59 km per hour. They have given the speed is equal to 59 km per hour. We have to find out the timing. Formula, as we know, speed is equal to distance by time. If we need time, we have to shift here. T it will take the place of S. S it will take the place of T. D by S. So now in this formula you have to fill these values. Okay, now here D value they have given, that is 1416 divided by S they have given 59. Yes, now let us divide 1416 by 59. Here 59 twos are 180. borrow. The 11 minus 8 is 3. Here remaining 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. And you have to take 6 downside. 236 it will become. And 59 fours are 236. It will give 0 0. It will give 0 0. Here 59 24s are, that is 1416. This is the value. Our answer is, that is 24. This is equal to 24. Here t is equal to 24. 24 what? We have to measure the timing in a unit, as I said before. Timing we can measure in second, minute or hour. But in this problem they have given the hour. Right? Here the speed is equal to kilometer per hour. Kilometer it is distance. Timing it should be measured in hour only. We should not take a second or minute. Okay? In this problem what they have asked or what they have given, depending upon that we have to keep the unit of time. Here in this problem here they have given hour. So that is t is equal to 24 hour is the answer. Therefore t is equal to 24 hour. This is the answer we have got. Is to cover the distance 1416 kilometer with the speed of 59 kilometer per hour. It will take 24 hours to complete this distance. Yes, my dear children, by learning these two problems we will wind up our class. So before going to wind up our class, we will recall what we have learned in today's class. Okay? In today's class we have discussed about the measurement of timing and what are the measuring devices we are using nowadays and before days. And also we have done one of the activity, that is working of the pendulum. Here pendulum we can consider one of the periodic motion or oscillatory motion, and the terms which are related to the pendulum also we have discussed. Later we have solved two problems by using the formulas. In tomorrow class we will solve remaining problems which are related to the speed. Thank you.